You know, Benjamin Disraeli, the former Prime Minister of United Kingdom, he famously remarked, "Justice is truth in action." Gandhi in Hind Swaraj, he also said something similar. Justice, which is not rooted in truth and non-violence, can never ever bring real peace. Look at the world in which we are living now. Fake news is everywhere. And not just that, power, it bends the truth at times, and at times, truth is sold as if it is a commodity in the market. In such a world, can we truly be happy? In such a world, can we truly build something which is meaningful at the cost and compromise of truth and justice? Now, all these questions, they're not abstract. No, absolutely not. UPSC has focused on these two values, truth and justice, since times immemorial, going back as far as 1993. So the content that we are going to discuss, it is not only important from your examination point of view, but let me remind you, it is even more important from the life's point of view, the destiny of the country's point of view. What we are going to discuss today is at the foundation of who you are. It is at the foundation of what kind of country we want to leave behind for our future generation. And like all podcasts, I'm joined by Vinay sir. Hello, sir. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I'm doing great. Umesh, how are you?
I'm doing good, sir. Thank you. Sir, if you look at the world as of now, all of us are aware as to what is truth and justice. All of us have learned about truth and justice since our school days. But nevertheless, when I ask certain students of mine what makes truth and justice so important, or what makes the theme of truth and justice so important for UPSC, very few people give coherent answers. As per you, sir, why is truth and justice so important for humanity as such?
See, the truth and justice, as we know, they give meaning to our lives. They are the cardinal values. They're the very fulcrum, the very foundation of humanity, is based on, these two most important values. In addition to this, I'll put freedom also. Mm-hmm. Freedom, truth and justice. These three are the most important values, dear to everybody who is conscious, everybody who has conscience, everybody who has certain identity or who wants an identity. So coming to country like India, which is aspirational, ambitious, and based on so much of timeless values, time-tested values, and we fought for these values. Right, we sacrificed so much for these values, and these values became integral to us, as a nation, for our growth and evolution, development, and to create a happy, prosperous society. Earlier, you said in the introduction about our happiness. So UPSC goes with those themes, questions, which have a huge implication for society, economy, polity, and in general humanity also. So truth and justice, these two concepts, ideas, must be any aspirant, for that matter, any individual living in this country should be aware of the meaning, right, and should have clarity about these two values, why they are significant, and why they must be protected at any cost, and why one should fight for truth and justice. So we have had lots of moments. Mahatma Gandhi fought for truth, he lived for truth, and then Dr. B.R. Ambedkar fought for justice, and then we had a series of movements, and they have all shaped our polity, society, economy in the last 75 years before independence also. So now one who wants to be part of this system, as a bureaucrat, so must have clarity on these two. So that is why since 1993 we see UPSC touching on these themes, various dimensions. So this year we have truth has no color. right? So it's the latest topic. So this will continue, and more such themes will be touched and tested by the UPSC in coming years. So you will see all 8 topics will be related to these ideas.
Sometimes the questions are very direct. For example, in 2025, it is truth knows no color. And sometimes the questions can also be quite indirect as well. For example, when they're asking questions about self discovery, when they're asking questions related to mindful manifesto, Gandhi very beautifully said, truth is the very essence of our existence. Away from truth, there is no existence as such. He even equated truth to God. Now, if you're going about life far away from all these kind of things, our mind will never be at peace. There will be no coherence as such. And even in psychology, there is a mention of it. When our thoughts and behaviors are mismatching, we call it as cognitive dissonance. So for me, the biggest foundational aspect of why we need to be aware of truth and justice is truth and justice teaches you what your identity is in this wide world and how you can go about in improving the level or the quantum of the truth and justice that exist. Now, I remember reading a book. The name of the book is Primates and Philosophers. And there, when you said, sir, it is truth and justice which made life possible, there is a very beautiful concept where the author Franz says, if you look at a group of capuchin monkeys, in that group of capuchin monkeys, they emphasized on just allocation of resources. And this is something which has been observed even in human civilizations across time. And I remember this poetess, Laleshwari, who very famously said, truth liberates you, truth sets you free. When people are dishonest, when people are moving towards injustice, there will be so much of negative emotions in mind. They will be shackled by this deception. They will be shackled by the negative values of greed and jealousy. Once truth and justice, the concepts you're understanding, you become free. You become free enough to think of a world, to create a world which is much bigger, much better, not only for yourself, for the future generation. I think this is what UPSC is trying to teach with regards to students wanting to know about truth and justice. But our students are still approaching truth and justice as if it is an academic pursuit. And that is where I think there is a lot of mismanagement happening, sir.
So you're absolutely right. One is understanding, right? When we quote Mahatma Gandhi or Benjamin Disraeli, Jiddu Krishnamurti or Immanuel Kant, any moral philosopher or political philosophers, I think they've all Plato, Socrates, and all. Everyone, I think, they try to give us an understanding about the nature of truth, right? So invariably, when we are talking about truth, so we also have to talk about reality. So we also have to talk about the creation, right? So we have to talk about thought. We have to talk about imagination. So then again, there comes the freedom and everything, right? So when we want to have a conceptual understanding of the truth, when you were talking about Gandhian idea of truth, for example, so I was wondering, I was thinking about how did Gandhi define truth? You said Gandhi said that truth is God. Now that means truth is absolute. So for Gandhi, truth was absolute, right? So the truth is absolute. So when somebody says truth is absolute, right? Then again, when you want to test it in the real world, in the real world, that you see and perceive, right? So it becomes so confusing in the sense that, see, this table is a reality, this mic is reality, and it is our thought, our imagination that creates this reality, right? Then what is true about this reality, right? And where does this truth exist as an absolute thing somewhere in the universe or somewhere in the mind, somewhere in the psyche, somewhere in the real world, right? So when we talk about truth, when we want to know the nature of the truth, then again truth has so many. The topic says truth doesn't have colors, but when I want to know the truth, right, it is all about human interpretation, right? The human mind, the way it is interpreting the truth, and then there is invented truth. There is truth, there is hidden truth, right? And then there is, it depends on how deeply you can think, or how much overthinking, we also say. So it all depends on one's ability to perceive the world. So today we are living in a world where there is a distortion of truth. Earlier you talked about in the introduction, right? Noam Chomsky, there is a famous book, Manufacturing of Consent. Right. Now the what is consent here? Right. Consent is the truth. Right. So you are making everyone believe in some truth. Right. That is also manufactured truth. So you want to create a manufactured consent. Right. So again, it is invented by an individual or invented by the government, invented by certain vested interests, certain forces, powerful forces, and then we are introducing the concept of power here, right? So power again distorts the very nature of truth. So it can be a very patriarchal guy in the home, in our very own home, maybe in a constituency, in a society, in a community, in a caste, in a religion, a powerful spiritual guru, right? He can come up with his own version of truth, right? So this is all so confusing in a way that I believe there is no clear-cut, absolute definition of the truth.
So, absolutely. When you said that truth is something that is open to human interpretation, as far as I see, truth is where you're representing reality in a rational way without any exaggeration or manipulation. What you see is what you describe. On the other hand, when someone asks me what is justice, I am just going to say justice is fairness. Now, when you look at truth and justice, and if you try to apply the same thing in an absolute way, it fails. Even Chanakya in his Arthashastra, he says, straight trees are cut first. And he also gave this concept of pragmatic truth. You need to be careful when you're truthful, to what extent, to and in front of which individual, things like this. And when I look at the same concept of truth and justice, here you can bring concepts like universalism and relativism as well. You also spoke about truth and justice and the various sources. Some people gather truth in a logical way, let us say. Some people gather truth based on the kind of rules and regulations they might have learned through religion. Now, after getting this truth, an idea of truth, an individual must also spend his time, use his critical thinking capabilities, and apply whatever notions of truth and justice they have learned to what is happening in and around them.
So now coming to justice part, because you're bringing the justice dimension, I think earlier you also mentioned, I think. So now for the justice, truth is the foundation.
True.
So without knowing the truth, we can never deliver justice.
That is why, so Benjamin Disraeli, he told justice is truth in action. Now, without truth, there can't be any justice as such. And without justice, there can't be any real peace. And you can't have a dignified life on this planet where truth and justice are just mere words and not actions.
So when we say that, justice is truth in action, so what I believe is that justice is more quantifiable, more real and absolute in a sense that it exists. It can be, you can see it in action, right? So you can deliver justice, you can give justice. So, but when it comes to truth, it is not straightforward.
It's not black and white. There are many shades of gray zone there.
Exactly. But justice, there is a clear-cut path, right? There may be, again, justice depends on in what kind of society we are living, right? Justice in North Korea has a different meaning, right? So justice in India has a different connotation. Similarly, justice in China, I think it has a different connotation. Similarly, truth also, right? Truth in North Korea is different. Truth in India is different. In a sense that, because we are all human societies, we have our own motives, we have our own systems in place where these so-called cardinal values or universal values, timeless values. So I think they have become victims, or they are distorted, right? So again, based on humans, we introduce the idea of power, right? How the power distorts. So the human aspirations and human greed, right? So some of the negative values that we possess. So they have a varying role in making these values either suffer or become prominent.
Yeah. For instance, Machiavelli told, you have your version of truth, I have my version of truth, and for the truth as such, it does not exist.
Why do you think truth has many versions?
So when we look at truth, we bring our subjective experiences into picture. What might have been your circumstance and what my circumstance is at this point in time, it is different. And I remember there is this very famous quote in English: "You are communist until you get rich. You are atheist until the plane starts to fall." So it depends on the circumstance, experiences, and the knowledge level that one might have gained in his life. And you were talking about power being a credible idea which influences the notions of truth and justice. Along with that, most of the people in this world, they also are religious as such. And even religion gives a set of rules and regulations which we are supposed to accept as if it is truth. Whatever is said over there, we have to accept as if it is just. But at any given point in time, no matter whether it is power or religion, one has to bring that critical thinking abilities and put the truth and justice, so as to speak, under a microscope and go deeper into it.
So when you say this, I remember a quote by Jiddu Krishnamurti. So he says that truth is not told, it is found.
Exactly, sir.
Right? We have to find it. So now in this so much complicated world, right? So finding the truth, again, finding the truth is very difficult. When you have so many minds at work, simultaneously, right? At any given moment of time. And then in country like India, where people are argumentative, so where it's so vibrant, everyone has an opinion. And then opinion, fact, information, truth. So they have all varying differences, right? So there is a clear-cut difference between all of them. So finding the truth, so do you find the truth through scriptures? We don't know. Are you going to find the truth using media, journalism? We are not sure. Is government going to tell us the truth? You don't have trust about it, right? Or your role models, those who exist in the society, right? So what they are saying is the truth. So we have lost trust there also. Again, we are introducing the word trust here, right? So again, do you want to go through self-discovery? So you gave a UPSC topic, the process of self-discovery. Now again, it is outsourced to technology, where it hallucinates. It doesn't know the truth. Now again, what is the relationship between intelligence, knowledge, and truth also, right? And of course, again, all these have huge implication for the justice value. But before we move into the relationship between justice, so I think it is important that whether for a common man, educated man, or anyone, clarity about finding the truth. Now, the court, how does it find the truth? Judges, how do they
have
find the truth? Again,
constitutional philosophies, moral philosophies to guide
and then
them.
they go for evidences, right? Again, evidences can be planted, manufactured, and the real evidences. Evidences can be somebody who has seen, who was there in the, if it is a crime, let us say, right, who was there in the scene of the crime. And again, they can have their own version of explaining the situation. Right. Again, it can also be influenced. Right. So we are seeing that in action, in Karnataka, in Dharmasthala situation. How the truth, justice, right? How it is getting distorted, how it is becoming confusing. One day you believe he is the person who has committed. Another day you believe that there is another person, the person who should have been part of the justice. Now he becomes the convict, he becomes the criminal. So much complicated, even the finding truth maybe during the times of Buddha and Ramayana, Mahabharata might have been easy, go to Himalayas or forest, renounce everything. And then again, I'm not sure about what is the nature of the truth they found out. Is it a new philosophy, new way of life, right? A new religion, right? So what already exists, that is the truth. Or again, you are creating something and telling that as the truth.
Yes, sir. So when you're talking about this point, there's a topic in UPSC where they say truth as a spiritual search. Now here you took an example.
This was a UPSC topic.
This was an UPSC topic. So you took an example of judge's case, and you were talking about constitutional moral philosophies, evidences as such. So here basically I think you were trying to convey that truth is more like a scientific approach. And on the other hand, when you took the example of Buddha, Mahavira and all these reformers, it came across as if truth is a spiritual search. Now, as per you, sir, which one is it, or is it both? It's a tough question, but nevertheless, I think it's quite interesting as well.
See, the question is how do we find the truth? Is there a scientific approach or a spiritual approach? See, when we talk about truth, I think it is an individual who is dealing with certain crisis. Earlier, you talked about cognitive dissonance. So, I believe every individual, when it comes to their own experiences, they know the truth. They are aware of the truth. So, if that experience is influenced by some other external agency, other individuals, so as you move far from near dear ones to the existing structures around us, systems around us, the people, systems. It can be anything, right? Powerful people, and then the government, and beyond the government, the things we have. So it gets distorted. So to find the truth at individual level, our conscience, right, our own awareness about our own experiences, more of a spiritual path. I think that definitely tells us, what is the truth. And also, I think one can also develop kind of extra sensory abilities, not like a superpower, but somebody who can discern between, what is true and what is intuitive, what is true and what is false, right? I mean, it's more of a psychological, right? It is up to an individual, and if science, psychology can help, I think it may complement, that process of discovering or finding the truth. So now coming to technology, the role of technology. So I believe it is never going to help us. I'm using the word like, in essay I usually recommend don't use the word extreme words like never, everyone, everything, right? Always. That should not be used. But why I'm using the word never, it is going to help. I think so that technology, has a whole different purpose, right? It is not a tool that you are using to find the truth. So technology is mainly making your life more easy, right? So giving you more capabilities. Finding truth is not one capability. So like surveillance, for example, or snooping on others, right? It is not about finding the truth. It is about again gaining more power or something. Or if it is your smartphone, so learning something. Learning is not knowing the truth, right? So the content that is there on Wikipedia, you don't know whether it is true or false, right? Or if you want to spy on some people in your life, right? But again, the thing you are going to get out of the technology, you are not sure about whether it is true or false, right? So I think there is no one clear-cut way. I think if at all I have to choose between two, I would go for more of spiritual. Again, spirit is what lies within us, it is individualistic. So I think ultimately that is what tells us, what is true.
Absolutely, sir. So when I look at that essay topic, truth as a spiritual search, at the core of this essay topic is about understanding who you are, far away from all the truth which has been imposed on you by others. It could be family, it could be religion, it could be polity, democracy, and so many other things like that. What is it that you want? Who you are in this wide, big world? Spirituality comes into picture over here. And here there needs to be a differentiation between spirituality as well as religion. Religion might be seen from the point of view of customs and traditions. Spirituality, on the other hand, it talks about the core universal values that binds all of us together, and at the same time gives us the necessary freedom and flexibility to say, okay, look, this method is there, but there might be another method which might work out the best for you. Spirituality. Now, When it comes to science, and when we were having this conversation, when you use this extreme word, right? Never. I got in my mind a movie called as I, Robot, sir. Have you watched this film, sir?
Yeah, I watched it.
Will Smith. It's a beautiful movie, and in that movie, you have a scene where Will Smith is involved in an accident, he is drowning, and at the same time, there is another small girl who is also drowning. And there is a robot which passes by. Now, the robot, it calculates the probability of who can survive. And it calculates that Will Smith has a much higher probability to survive compared to that small girl. And the robot tries to save Will Smith. Will Smith says, "Don't save me, save the little girl." But the robot does not listen. He saves the protagonist, Will Smith, over there. I don't think technology as such can bring that humane touch, that empathetic touch, which is very much required to understand what is truth and justice. Now, usually, most of my students, they talk about Buddha quite a lot. Now, Buddha, before he became Buddha, when he went on a Bharat Darshan of his own sort, that is where he saw what the real world was. That is where he felt. For the pursuit of truth and justice in anyone's life, one has to feel, and that cannot come in a scientific way. One has to feel it. It has to be a spiritual awakening as such. And this is what Jiddu Krishnamurti or any similar reformers have spoken about. What do you think, sir?
So while listening to all of this again, while we are having this conversation, I'm thinking about why truth is important. Now, why should we care about the truth? We exist, we survive, we live, right? We do whatever we want, right? And we have family, we have kids, we earn, we have a job, right? So, but why should we worry about the truth?
So when truth is there, I think there is a stable society, because if everyone starts doing what they want, the society will be chaotic, will be confusing. And the society in which we are living, it's not like there is equity or equality as such. People are from different domains in terms of capacity and abilities as such. And if you do not have a model where truth and justice is not there, it can become an animalistic world, I feel.
Just to add to that, truth brings trust. Right. I think trust is extremely important for any society to progress, grow and prosper. Because trust will, bring the other qualities like, fraternity. So only when there is mutual trust, so then I think I'll be forthcoming to help another individual. And again, truth is more important and significant. You also talked about, I think I also mentioned about identity. So at the end of the day, it is, identity, right? I think we all seek certain identities. So truth reinforces and gives us that identity as well as meaning to that identity.
And I think it also ensures that minimum dignity that a human being requires.
Correct.
When the truth and justice is not there, human dignity becomes a secondary priority. And we have seen this in different parts of the world. We were talking about North Korea as such. The kind of truth and justice that they have set up, that is not collective. That is just focusing on just few individuals, few families. And it is the common people who are suffering. An unstable, chaotic and confusing world. So there needs to be conversation. There needs to be conversation as to the nature of truth, which truth will suffice for the present time, for the present circumstances. Yes, truth can have subjective perceptions. But how is it that we will reconcile all these subjective perceptions and find a way out which helps the collective people, sir?
See, again, collective people, when you say that it should become collective aspiration, what? Seeking the truth, finding the truth. So I think a society that seeks the truth is the most mature society, right? Because there is this collective awareness that the individual identity, and then collectively you also want to have a identity where everyone is living in harmony. So a society that seeks truth is not afraid of anyone. It is courageous because it takes courage to seek the truth. And then we have speaking truth to the power, right? I mean, if you are living in certain regimes, whether it is dictatorial or democratic, so I think the seeking truth and then speaking truth and telling truth, so it has different connotations. So now the earlier discussions we were having, the justice part. So I think when we become a society where truth is more valued, justice I think naturally happens in such a society, because you cannot bypass such humans, people who are aware about their rights, their identity, and their aspirations. So I think justice has to be served. Justice must be ensured, I think, in that situation.
So this is a beautiful point, because when you look at ethics, there are questions, and on the same thing. For example, there is a question: without ethics, no laws, rules, and regulations can be meaningful as such. So when you said that when truth is there, justice becomes an automatic feature, that's absolutely correct. And you made a very good point in terms of people have to make it as a collective aspiration in terms of truth and justice. But when you look at the present times, people are disengaged from the process. For people, the pursuit of roti kapda makan has become so much more important. Aspirations like this takes a secondary seat. And not just that, people have this bias that whatever system is there, it could be religion, it could be democracy, or anything else, no matter how much of falsehood might be there in that, they think that system is fair. So in this type of a situation, collective aspiration becomes difficult. That's one thing. And the second thing is, even if some people are voicing out these days, they're called as anti-national, they're told to go to Pakistan, they're called as prostitute, they're called as secular, and terminologies like this. So how badly do you think it is these type of tendencies of name calling will affect the country as such?
No, in the beginning, like we should think about, we should discuss about why we have such a situation. So we have this post-truth phenomenon. So where emotions override, overpower, dominate the discourse. They mask the truth. So truth loses the value, right? Fact doesn't become important. So in this post-truth world, so we have this situation mainly. So one reason, there are many reasons. One reason could be, so when the capitalism took over, when materialism became, our ultimate goal, the prosperity in terms of materialistic aspirations, and then when the post World War world we are living in, we created certain institutions to prevent more wars, similar to what we had during the World War time. And then we wanted to create a more stable world. And then there was aspiration for democracy, decolonization, right? So then we had free institutions, lots of freedom. And then suddenly, these capitalistic forces started entering, exploiting everything. So when the greed is endless, when the exploitation is the goal, when monopoly is the ambition, so I think truth becomes the victim. Truth and justice becomes the victim. So they started controlling the governments. They started becoming the governments. Now we have that phenomenon, right? In America we saw that, right? So they don't care about any ethics, any values. Forget about truth and justice. So even anybody is dispensable, right? Whether it is a democratic government like India, so it is just a mere, dispensable entity. So you don't care about this. So we have such leaders, coming into power, various parts of the world. So this again gives rise to a question: has society become helpless? Right? That you have these leaders, and then again their policies are impacting you directly. The justice, again truth, have become victim here. So what can we do about it? Can we have another Arab Spring? Can we have kind of revolutions we had earlier? So it is not plausible. It's very difficult to have such kind of revolutions or movements. Even a small protest is difficult in country like India nowadays, right? It can be thwarted, suppressed, eliminated in a span of few days. And when you have a massive protest like the one by farmers seeking truth, right, and justice, so it can be made invisible, right? It can be made voiceless. It can be suppressed. So the truth can be masked, it can be hidden. So we have such helplessness, and then more, dominant, powerful governments in the place. So in this situation, we are adding this artificial intelligence, and in future we are going to have quantum computing and everything. So what I believe is that unless somehow the society, right, not just seeking truth, not just seeking justice, not just valuing freedom, I think it has to outgrow, beyond these things to understand what is happening, reality, what is the reality currently. But you also made a point earlier, roti kapada makan, I think it is by design that a large chunk of population is kept that way, right? Further helplessness, because what happens when you make them aware, when you make them educated, when you also talked about critical thinking and other things, when they become somebody who can think critically. So this I talked about, this collective awareness about, seeking justice, so that will again become reality. So that should not become reality for all these forces which are controlling. This is not conspiracy, we are discussing, this is the reality.
Absolutely, sir. So you gave an excellent dimension to it in terms of how the helplessness has evolved over various centuries as such. Now, I remember Martin Luther King Jr. very famously saying, in the end, we do not remember the words of our enemies, but we remember the silence of our friends. Now, the helplessness has increased so much. We prefer silence rather than many of the other things in terms of anger, in terms of taking courageous decisions, and in terms of people who talk these days, when people are calling them as anti-national, secular, or prostitute as such, instead of showcasing support, we say, okay, the institution has certain fairness into it. Maybe the institution is correct. Maybe the system is fair, even though it might not be. And my greatest worry, if these type of situations go forward, we will be living in that matrix type of a world where we will be controlled in terms of our thoughts, in terms of our words and actions, in the utmost essence. And we will not be having this human feeling as such. We will become just like some machine code as such. Breaking free from this, rebelling from it, is what I think is required as of now in terms of building that critical awareness as such and aspiring, outgrowing. Now, we all have been hearing Vikshit Bharat, Amritkal and everything. Now, that's good. That's great. However, we need to outgrow it, and we need to look at a concept for our country from a truth and justice point of view, which can become the blueprint for the entire world. And here, changing the nature of politics, changing the nature of education system, and more importantly, changing how we perceive truth and justice. Many people look at truth and justice as just podcast room talks, just things which are there in academic. Once we internalize this, justice is not a legal concept. It might be, I'm not saying no, but more than legal concept for me, since I teach ethics, justice is more of an internalized value, how you treat others in a fair way, in an equitable way, in an impartial way. If we do it from an automatic point of view, whether that camera, whether there is any monitoring, regulation, whatever it might be, that doesn't matter. We will always be just. Now, when truth and justice we are selectively wearing just because someone else is monitoring us, then it is just going to remain as academic concepts or legal concepts, nothing more than that. We have to start internalizing. We have to believe that these are not just podcast room talks at all. This is as much of a reality as we require. What do you think, sir?
Absolutely. But again, we don't have the understanding of individual agency. We don't have the understanding of free will. And also, earlier I was talking about capitalism and other things. So it has introduced a very vicious thing. Unfortunately, we are also part of that, the competition. Right? When there is competition in every sphere of life, again, these things will take backseat. Treating others with, just attitude. So now, like reservation, for example, positive discrimination. So that is also seen as unjust by, in fact, vast majority, section of the people in India. So when I go to villages, when I'm traveling, so I hear some students complaining about reservation. So they talk about merit and all. No, what is the relationship between merit, truth, justice? Again, that can be another debate, right? So when you introduce competition, when there is competition in school, classroom, college, in the after college, after graduating, uh, self-interest becomes the prominent value one practices, right? So selfishness, self-interest, egotism, right? All these get introduced when there is competition. So naturally, again, justice. For example, let us say take the case of Darshan, for example, in Karnataka. So there are people who support him. There are people who don't support him. So now, why some people support him? Why some people don't support him? Right. So some people support because they are their his fans.
Yeah. They have been inspired by him in many
Yeah.
ways in their past.
Correct. So there are people who don't support him. Again, we can explore the reasons why. So now again, the court will have its own reasoning, its own justification for giving whether punishing him or not punishing him. Right. So again, the quantum of justice, quantum of punishment, again that is also going to be decided based on various parameters. So when you talk about we coming together, creating better society, right? So over past many decades, the society is injected, so many poisons, here and there. It's not so easy for us, when you want to do something, there are roadblocks. There are, people who are going to stop you, and it happens at every level, right? So ultimately, fighting for truth and justice is not easy in the way maybe it used to be in the times of Mahatma Gandhi or someone, right? Now it
Even
is-
for Bhagat Singh, I think it is going to be difficult these days to fight for truth and justice.
it's very difficult. They can be vilified at any point
Yeah.
of time.
Character assassination at the end of
Character
the day.
assassination, whataboutery, right? So you have so many things nowadays because technology has given that freedom for everyone. A virtual world, you can question any authority, anyone. You can do character assassination of anyone.
And there is this growing tendency for people to believe that all that glitters is gold. Even though the rhyme says that all that glitters is not gold, not all who wander are lost. Those are the first two lines of the poem. People have this tendency, all that glitters is gold. If my leader is saying, it is right. If my celebrity person is saying, then it is right. Whether they're applying their own mind and analyzing it, that is a different question altogether. So when you told, sir, we have to outgrow the system that has been designed in such a way to make us pursue roti, kapda and makan and not this higher aspiration, that was an absolutely beautiful point that we need to keep in mind when we are consuming information. What we are consuming is not truth and justice at the end of the day.
Add to this another dimension. Everyone wants to be a celebrity in their own capacity now. So truth, justice again will become victim. When you want to be on virtual world, when you want to be famous, right? So even I want to be that. Maybe you want to be that. Everyone. I mean, this is how the society in our own domains. So again, there is competition that you want to be visible, you want to be famous. So now what happens? We will all we will all invent our own versions of truth to sell ourselves, maybe. I mean, we see in advertisements,
The influencer culture is
the influencer culture. Excellent point again. The way influencer, you see the word influencers. We don't know about truth and justice. What they are saying, we don't know. We don't have capacity to verify, or we don't have patience, or we don't have time to verify, right? So we get influenced, and again, influencers are growing. Their clout is growing in such a way that they are able to influence the outcome of the elections, right? They are able to influence the government. They are able to influence the policies also.
Exactly. So for in America, this individual Joe Rogan, the kind of role that he played to make Donald Trump famous in a particular age group, that needs to be studied. And along with that, when you're talking about technology, Elon Musk, he bought Twitter, and the way he has utilized Twitter to push the agenda of Donald Trump at one point in time, that is a case study in itself. Technology can be used, as you were saying, in terms of manufacturing consents from a non-Chomsky point of view. That is quite apparent. Is there any possibility where we can roll back on the competition, where we can control the technology as such and make sure that the system is still pursuing truth and justice, which promotes collective welfare, sir? Is there any possibility, sir, as per you?
So there is a glimmer of hope, in the sense that now technology, the positive side of the technology is that so in our smartphone, everything is available in a way that I can listen to Michael Sandel's, videos on truth and justice.
The one he does with Harvard University.
Harvard University, right? So we have Stanford videos, we have Massachusetts Institute of Technology videos. So other day I was watching, videos on neuroscience. There is one famous guy, Soprosky, right? I've read his book Behave. His ideas are very wonderful, very deep and beautiful. So I think somewhere the people should be made aware that this is the true gold, that actually exists in reality, in your smartphones. So when people like Elon Musk, when they try to manufacture opinion, create certain truths by controlling these things. So I think they also give the freedom to voice our opinion. So ability to learn from the most trusted sources, right, and ability to articulate our views, right, free of any kind of constraints. So the technology is going to make it more powerful, any single individual. So we will have the courage to question governments. The way we vote in democracy will change, right? The way we demand policies and benefits from the government is going to be really positive. So I believe. So when it becomes collective, I think it should percolate. It should distribute across every section of the population. That is one thing we have to ensure. So I believe somehow by virtue of how the nature of technology, how it evolves, or how it becomes available to everyone. Something restricted now will become ubiquitous, available for everyone in the end. So maybe in decade or so, I think, but I think it can become more chaotic world also.
Yes, sir, because when we take the example of Twitter itself, they have introduced this concept of community notes. So someone would have posted a tweet and it will be based on falsehood. It will be based on, let us say, certain injustice related aspect, some distorted version of truth. So the followers who are following this particular tweet, they can add a community note saying that this tweet is not good. So technology is a double-edged sword. It can be used as a hope to further the idea of truth and justice as well. It all depends upon the awareness of the people who are using it and certain system designs.
So add to this another dimension, now everyone has eyes, everywhere there are eyes, right? So you can capture the truth and reality in real time, right? But again, who controls that? That is, they can distort this very truth also.
They have to be responsible.
So most of the cases are solved based on CCTV footages, images. So in Bangalore recently there was a fight. So somebody thought one non-Kannadiga bet Kannadiga because of you got offended or something like that. There was again the truth was finally found out. Right. So I think we should be hopeful. We should be positive. So if we use, not if we use, I think eventually, because ultimately man, the human being, I think his desire is something fundamentally good, right? Even when it is competition, self-interest. So I think he is perfectly aware that he cannot live in an isolated way. Even with all the technology, we have to live in a society. So that realization will further, go on improving, because we have seen during the COVID, that was a reality check for us. So we came back, we started enjoying our festivals, we started coming together, enjoying even small functions. So I think because we are fundamentally good human beings, so the future is good, I think.
Exactly, sir. When we talk about the nature of human tendencies, now competition might make a person do selfish things at one point in time, maybe for some point in time, but it cannot be sustained for a very long period, because there's a voice inside your head which is always saying, Umesh, what you're doing is wrong. That conscience is there, and that makes you reverse. Now, that is the kind of hope that you have highlighted in your answer as well. Apart from that, what I believe is there needs to be certain system changes as well, systematic changes. For example, when we talk about media. So when we try to talk about systematic changes, and in the case of media, in that case of non-Kannadiga creating a ruckus and all these things happening in the picture, the people who consume information and the people who provide information, there needs to be a constitutional boundary as such, a moral boundary as such, so that competition does not become unhealthy. That's second thing. And the third thing is, no matter what you do at any given point in time, if you have an empathy, how the words that I say or what I do in terms of increasing the standards of truth or increasing the standard of justice can not only impact me but also others. If we become a little bit altruistic in this way, there is a good amount of hope that we can reverse the moral decline that we are seeing, not just in our country but also in the world as such. Now, my final question to you is, sir, we have discussed, we have touched upon various related UPSC topics. We started with Mindful Manifesto, self-discovery. We went to Truth Knows No Color, the absolute point of it. We also spoke about truth as a spiritual search. My last question to you, UPSC has asked one more question where they say, truth is lived, not thought. Now, as per you, how can we, day in and day out, develop this mentality where we live the truth in thoughts, words, and actions, whether someone is monitoring us or not monitoring us? What is your answer with regards to this, sir?
So that's a wonderful quote. Truth is lived, not thought.
Yes.
So again, earlier we discussed, truth is found, not spoken or talked about. So this is again, it goes further and says, truth is lived. But again, that totally depends on one's integrity, one's honesty. So the underlying values. So if you want to live the truth, so being truthful to ourselves, to our conscience. So inner conscience is the highest court of justice. So I think a true understanding of our own conscience is important. And to live the truth, who you want to be, what you want to be, that is also very important, right? Because the world is observing us. Our own children will be emulating us, right? So we are their role models, and we transcend that. And when we become prominent and influential, we also become role models to others. So we have to live the truth for our own inner happiness, as well as to guide the world around us, to create a more better world.
Absolutely, sir. You made an excellent point when you said that we need to become responsible for the people that look upon us. And the other thing that you brought about is accountability from a conscience point of view. If these two things are there, you can live the truth on a day-to-day basis rather than it becoming just an academic exercise. And the collective awareness that you spoke about, if we start teaching this at the fundamental levels of education, at the fundamental level of family, how we interact in the society as such, things can change. And
And also living the truth is also about love, is also about gratitude, and it's also about responsibility. The responsibility you talked about. So gratitude and love, they're very important, because we have to be truthful, because the world we have inherited and the world we are going to pass on, right, is not ours, in the sense that we have borrowed.
We have borrowed it. Yeah,
from the
there is a
future
beautiful
generation.
quote, Nasser. We have not inherited from our predecessor, rather we have borrowed it from our future generation.
Yeah, so that should prick our conscience. So I think living truthfully is again living responsibly, right? Because ultimate aim of truth is to create a better world, just world. So in terms of love, I think uh, trust emerges out of love out of trust. So the living the truth, strengthens these values, love and trust and everything. So in turn, that will create more harmonious world. So it is just that these things should transcend, become reality beyond an individual or a group of handful individuals. Caste systems, we have to transcend the caste system. all existing discriminations, right? So the class systems. So once they transcend, this realization happens. So I think everyone can live the truth. Even the government can also live the truth.
Right. So when you spoke about love and you also spoke about gratitude, sense of responsibility, when we start realizing that at the end of the day, no matter which religion, caste, and everything we belong to, we are human beings. When that universal values comes into picture, truth can be lived. Truth becomes reality as such, and the world that we are going to leave behind for the future generation is going to be a just, compassionate, and sustainable world.
And last, when everybody lives the truth, you don't have to find the truth, you don't have to seek the truth. It just exists.
Absolutely, sir. And but to counter argue that, truth, I think, is still a dynamic concept. As and when the time changes, there will always be constant research and development required into these two concepts. So, any other further additions from your end, sir?
That's it. I mean, it is just like, as you discuss, as you inquire into it, as we dwell deeply into it. Of course, we are not philosophers or anyone, to go deeply into it. Based on our understanding, we are
But I
just
think we are
making.
reluctant philosophers because of UPSC preparation.
Yeah, UPSC preparation has made us amateur philosophers, right? Because humiliations, insults, failures, and all setbacks collectively helped us reflect deeply into our own lives, how to set the future course of action to gain a standing in the society, maybe respect of the people, and to have our own identity here. So I think you start thinking about these things, not worrying about. You start thinking about all these values. So I think that is what we are actually doing in this podcast, and because we happen to evaluate essay and teach ethics and discuss.
And we have to bring in some of our students who have been giving the kind of support and encouragement for all the podcasts which have been happening. And it makes us very happy to come out with these new initiatives. We hope you not only are
Yeah,
listening to it,
yeah,
but also
so
applying it in your essays.
whatever we are talking, it is just discussion. It is not the final truth.
Exactly.
So you improvise on this. You become more curious, inquisitive. Watch good stuff that which we discussed. The
There are
videos
movies like Good Will Hunting, The Scent of a
Yeah.
Woman, which talk about truth. Then there are movies called as Just Mercy, which talks about justice as such. And there are books. I remember a Pulitzer Prize winning book. There is a Netflix documentary on her as well. Right? She talks about how caste is the origin of all the discontent that exists, and she makes a comparison between Indian caste system, racism in America, and also the Nazism which was happening in Germany during Hitler time. Now, as long as we do not pursue this truth, discontent will be there. And this discontent at the end of the day, no matter who you are, which caste, which religion you belong to, it will always hamper you in the negative way. What do you think, sir?
Absolutely right. So
Right, sir. Freedom, my dear friends, is not a privilege. Freedom for me is a responsibility which demands eternal vigilance. And in the pursuit of this eternal vigilance, each and everyone needs to do their role in making sure truth and justice becomes concepts that we are living, concepts that we are pushing each and every day, so that the highest standards of dignity is always realized. I hope this podcast was useful. Take care. Thank you, sir.
thank you. Maybe next podcast, freedom.
Probably, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.